Well, happy day. I hope you are having a wonderful day. I'm having a pretty good day. Physically, I'm a little tired. So, when you're tired, it's a little more challenging to be present and aware because you're not as energetic as you usually are. I don't know. Just last night, I just kept waking up multiple times just cuz. So, it's just one of those nights of restlessness. But I'm here and I want to talk to you about compassion today. And the reason why I want to bring this up is because I was sitting the other day and I overheard a comment. It was from a Christian that I knew, and it really bothered me. And this comment was, if you cannot prevent it from happening to you, then you deserve it. And this triggered me for many reasons. One, because I just finished watching a documentary on Netflix about the Boy Scouts of America and the whole scandal with the abusing camp leaders and the abusing volunteers and just the mess that was, and how they were so focused on saving the institution that they did not focus on saving the people and helping the people and getting the people healing that they need. There are people that have power and they abuse that power. And when you don't have the ability to defend yourself, you are powerless. And secondly, recently I just found out about a minister that I know that has abused his position. He is, for the second time, been accused of abuse, and he has not addressed this publicly. And he continues to preach and not preach, but he continues to share messages and videos on Facebook without even addressing the accusations or the hurt that people are accusing him of. So that's really painful, especially when it seems that the information is from credible sources. So it's not just random people sharing these things. So these are the things that have been on my mind as I heard that quote. It really hurt. That idea, I don't think is compatible with the Christian faith. I don't really understand how a Christian can say something like that. I don't see compassion in that statement. So I really struggle with that. And now I've been able to detach myself from the statement, more particularly the frustration with the individual, because I'm reminding myself that this is an idea that this individual has, and the individual is more than their ideas. I think it's an unhealthy idea, an unhelpful idea. I would even say an unchristian idea, but that individual is more than their ideas. So I can still love that individual. I can still have a relationship with that individual. If I had an opportunity to be in the conversation, I wasn't in the conversation. I overheard the conversation. If I was in a different situation, I would say something to him. But I want to meditate on a text that I think will help us understand how we can go about cultivating compassion for people, for those that are without power, for those that are abused, for those that are hurt. I mean, no one wants to get hurt. No one wants to be abused. So no one deserves it. So I'm going to read from Luke chapter 7, and we'll be in verses 11 through 17. This is also a passage that I was able to study with my Lectio Divina group. So I'll read from the NIV version. Soon afterward, Jesus went to a town called Nain, and his disciples and a large crowd went along with him. As he approached the town gate, a dead person was being carried out, the only son of his mother, and she was a widow. And a large crowd from the town was with her. When the Lord saw her, his heart went out to her, and he said, "Don't cry." Then he went up and touched the coffin, and those carrying it stood still. He said, "Young man, I say to you, get up." The dead man sat up and began to talk, and Jesus gave him back to his mother. They were all filled with awe and praised God. "A great prophet has appeared among us," they said. "God has come to help his people." This news about Jesus spread throughout Judea and the surrounding country. So there's so many things I want to point out, but one thing that my pastor was able to point out was that this story is foreshadowing, what's going to happen to Jesus. Eventually Jesus is going to die, and eventually he's going to be raised up. There's some foreshadowing here. There's also some ways that we can see how one can cultivate compassion. Notice verse 12 that there was a large crowd from the town with the grieving mother. There's some things to be said about being with people. When you're able to be with them, you can sit with their pain and do what I think the apostle Paul says, which is to grieve with those that grieve, mourn with those who mourn, rejoice with those who rejoice. These people were doing that. They were with this woman in pain. And I think cultivating compassion is about being with people in their pain. It's not that maybe we have the answers. So sometimes we may have the answers. Sometimes we may have the ability to help. But first and foremost, we're just with people in their pain. This is how we can cultivate compassion. This crowd was with the widow in her pain. And secondly, I think we can discover compassion from what Jesus did in verse 13. When the Lord saw her, his heart went out to her. There's something about seeing someone and paying attention to someone that I think can help us cultivate compassion, and it can allow our hearts to go out to them and with them. Sometimes when we see an individual, we see their ideas, we see their mistakes, we see an image of who we think they are based on our judgments and our preconceived notions and all these things. And we fail to see the human. Paying attention and being willing to divert your attention so that you can see that person. Jesus was on a mission. He had somewhere to be, but he was able to still see this woman. And because he saw her, because he was able to pay attention to her, he had compassion for her. So these are just two simple ways in this story alone that we see ways to cultivate compassion, being with people that are hurting, and also paying attention and seeing them. One more thing, this is going to be a bonus tip. I didn't plan to share this, but recently I've been getting training to become a spiritual director. What that has entailed is learning how to listen to people without saying anything and not offering any solutions, but just listening and letting that be enough. And if I have a question, I can ask a question to get further clarification about what they said. But first and foremost, just listening and being with an individual as they talk and as they share, and take that opportunity as like sacred. Recognize that that opportunity is sacred. That's the third thing that I can share with you. Learn to listen well to other people. Not listen because you want to change their mind. Not listen because you want to offer your advice, but listen because that individual is worthy to be heard. We all want to be heard. We all want to be listened to. So these are some things that I hope that you can maybe meditate on and think about. Thank God for the scriptures that reveal to us some timeless truths, I think, and some timeless examples of ways to be a better human. And I'm just grateful for that story, and I'm grateful for you watching. I pray blessings over your heart. I pray blessings over your mind. May God continue to open your mind. May the Spirit continue to transform your heart and your mind so that you can grow in compassion and love. Thanks for watching.